strike of a judge's gavel, she could put an end to the nightmare of the past year. Eventually, she would forget she'd ever met Ian Randall. Alan Harris, Cecilia's attorney, entered the foyer outside the Kitsap County courtroom. She watched as he glanced around until he saw her. He raised his hand in a brief greeting, then walked over to where she sat on the hard wooden bench and claimed the empty space beside her. "Tell me again what's going to happen," she said, needing the assurance that her life would return to at least an approximation of what it had been a year ago. Alan set his briefcase on his lap. "We wait until the docket is announced. The judge will ask if we're ready. I'll announce that we are, and we'll be given a number." Cecilia nodded, feeling numb. "We can be assigned any number between 1 and 50, her attorney continued. "Then we wait our turn." Cecilia nodded again, hoping she wouldn't be stuck in the courthouse all day. Bad enough that she had to be here. Even worse that Ian's presence was also required. She hadn't seen him yet. Maybe he was meeting somewhere with his own attorney, discussing strategies. Not that she expected him to contest the divorce. "There won't be a problem, will there?" Her palms were damp and cold sweat had broken out across her forehead. She wanted this to be over so she could get on with her life. She believed that couldn't happen until the divorce was filed. Only then would the pain start to go away. "I can't see that there'll be any hang-ups, especially since you've agreed to divide all the debts." He frowned slightly. "Despite that prenuptial agreement you signed." A flu-like feeling attacked Cecilia's stomach, and she clutched her purse tightly against her. Soon, she reminded herself, soon she could walk out these doors into a new life. "It's a rather unusual agreement," Alan murmured. In retrospect, the prenuptial agreement had been another in the list of mistakes she'd made in the past year, but according to her attorney, one that could easily be rectified. Back when she'd signed it, their agreement had made perfect sense. In an effort to prove their sincerity, they'd come up with the idea that the spouse who wanted the divorce should pay not only the legal costs but all debts incurred during the marriage. It could be seen as either punitive or deterrent. In either case, it hadn't worked. And now it was just one more nuisance to be dealt with. Cecilia blamed herself for insisting on something in writing. She'd wanted to be absolutely sure that Ian wasn't marrying her out of any sense of obligation. Yes, the pregnancy was unplanned, but she would have been perfectly content to raise her child by herself. She preferred that to being trapped in an unhappy marriage or trapping Ian in a relationship he didn't want. Ian, however, had been adamant. He'd sworn that he loved her, loved their unborn child, and wanted to marry her. As a 10-year-old, Cecilia's entire world had been torn apart when her parents divorced. She refused to do that to her own child. In her mind, marriage was forever, so she'd wanted them to be certain before making a lifetime commitment. How naive, she thought now. How sentimental. How romantic. Ian had said he wanted their marriage to be forever, too, but like so much else this past year, that had been an illusion. Cecilia had needed to believe him, believe in the power of love, believe it would protect her from this kind of heartache. In the end, blinded by the prospect of a husband who seemed totally committed to her, and by the hope of a happy ever-after kind of life, Cecilia had acquiesced to the marriage, with one stipulation, the agreement. Their marriage was supposed to last as long as they both lived, so they'd devised an agreement that would help them stay true to their vows, or so they'd thought. Before the ceremony, they'd written the prenuptial contract themselves and had it notarized. She'd forgotten all about it until she'd made an appointment with Alan Harris, and he'd asked if she'd signed any agreement prior to the wedding. It certainly wasn't the standard sort of document. Nevertheless, Alan felt they needed to have the court rescind it. Her marriage shouldn't have ended like this, but after their baby died, everything had gone wrong. Whatever love had existed between them had been eroded by their loss. Babies weren't supposed to die, even babies born premature. Any sense of rightness, of justice, had disappeared from Cecilia's world. The marriage that was meant to sustain